Hi, my name is Delia Clark, and I'm a place-based learning trainer and facilitator with the Iditarod Historic Trail Alliance. This webinar is part of the Take It Outside virtual learning series for educators, which is made possible by a partnership of the Iditarod Historic Trail Alliance, the U.S. Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, and the Anchorage Park Foundation. Under normal conditions, the Iditarod Trail to Every Classroom program, which is also called iTrek, takes place over the span of an entire school year. But this year, for obvious reasons, we've developed it into a virtual series. And we're hoping to return to a normal year-long school format at some point in the future. If you're interested in being on the mailing list for when that happens, you can email itrekalaska@gmail.com and we'll let you know once we're able to travel again. Um, and just so you know, upcoming programs include tomorrow night, we'll be having a teacher's lounge with teachers from the Appalachian Trail, which runs from Georgia to Maine. And they're really excited to get together with some Alaska teachers who are also doing place-based learning and talk about what tips and tricks everybody has learned as we all try to do this work together. On April 6th, we'll be using outdoor classrooms at Sand Lake Park. So that'll be a lot of fun. Tonight, we are going to be focusing on just on questing. And let me just get that ready for you. One sec. So this is a quest in place, taking place up in Talkeetna. And before we begin, I think you know most of these things. Mute your audio, if possible, turn on your video so we can see you. We'll be using the chat feature, but in this small group, we also can just talk. Raise your hand if I don't notice you so that we can make sure to call on you. We are being recorded, and you are going to need a pen or pencil and a piece of paper. So if you could get that and have it handy, I'm going to take you on a virtual quest up in Nome, and you'll be needing a piece of paper to solve it. So Olivia, if you could run the poll to find out which describes your experience with questing. Okay, so 2 people out of 4 have answered it. Does that, oh, 3 out of 4. I think that might be everybody. So let me end the poll, and it looks like we are literally all over the map. We've got people who've been through the training before and have made Quest geocache or letterboxes, and the people who don't even know what we're talking about but think it sounds fun. So that's great. That's good to know, and we'll try to run a training that that covers all the basics. So what I thought I'd do today is it could do an overview of questing, what questing is. This is a quest obviously near the Golden Gate Bridge. Take you on a virtual quest so that you can sample one. And it's going to be one that Louisa and I and a few others made up in Nome. So if you haven't been to Nome, it's a fun chance to see what it looks like up there or revisit your old memories if you have. I want to talk about the qualities of a good quest and think about curricular and classroom applications of questing and share a few resources. So what is a quest? It is an installed treasure hunt that gets people out on the landscape. It's often made by students, but it also can be made by adults, historical societies, or Louisa herself has actually made one, I think. So adults can make them, educators and others. The idea is to try to connect people with place by getting people out on the landscape exploring. They usually involve rhyming clues just because those are more fun. They often are done in association with public lands or privately operated entities like the Appalachian Trail Conservancy or other groups. And their primary purpose is just to get people outside, get them having fun. There are quests right now, literally all over the United States, and it's taken from an idea that we learned about in England. So there are a lot of letterboxes, a similar entity around Europe and spreading fast all around the world. So rather than tell you about it, I thought I'd show you and take you on a quest up in Nome, and then we can talk more about what they are. So this is a quest that Louisa and I and others built to orient iTrek teachers to Nome, so that when they first get to Nome, they usually are really eager to explore, and it's a little hard to keep them focused in a classroom in the National Park building. So we decided to let them explore and learn at the same time. If you haven't been to Nome, this church is very iconic in the middle of the green. And this is one of the old abandoned gold dredges, which litter the landscape and are very huge, super fun to climb on. That was a joke for Louisa, but she's not laughing. Okay, so she thinks safety first. So here's your job. Make a list, write the numbers 1 through 22 across your piece of paper, or take a couple lines if you need to, and leave a space above each of the numbers. We're gonna go on a walk all around Nome, and we're gonna be collecting a letter at each of our stops. And then at the end, you can see what they spell. And if you haven't been to Nome, here's a map. This is, we're starting right here, which is the National Park, Bering Straits Lambridge National Park building. It's right on Front Street, which fronts the Bering Sea. So this whole thing over here is the Bering Sea. And if you go out this way, you get to the airport. So that orients you a little bit. The schools are around in here-ish. We're going to start here at number 11. So this is you're catching number 11 right now. And I'll read the first one. It's time for a photo. Show the world how you look. The world's largest gold pan looks good on Facebook. Third letter on the huge gold pan. So you want to take that third letter on the pan and write it above number 11 on your piece of paper. And that's Judy and Annette and Delia. So Louisa, can you read this next clue?
Sure. Number 1, in need of some groceries or things you forgot? Hanson's got your back. Check it out, just the spot. And we're looking for the first letter in the second word of Hanson's official name.
So just as a test, what letter did everybody get to write above your number 1?
T.
I got T.
First letter and second word. Sounds good.
I got T too.
We're all aligned. Okay, let's see. How about Alex?
Wyatt Earp. Now there's a guy who really got around, including running the Dexter right here in this town. What does prop period stand for? Sixth letter in this word.
This is a little harder than it was. It used to look at his wife's first name, but that sign's pretty hard to read. So everyone think you've got it? Lindsay, welcome. I'm really glad you're here. And what you should do is write the numbers 1 through 22 on a piece of paper with space above them to start harvesting letters. And does anyone want to tell Lindsay the letters we have so far? What do we have for 11? Lindsay's here, right? Hi, Lindsay.
Yes, I am. I
Okay.
got out of school.
No worries. So 1 through 22, get a piece of paper and pencil, write 1 through 22 on a line, sideways line, or you can take a couple lines if you need it, with space above them. And we are going to go on a quest and harvest letters all through the city of Nome. And so far, we've already harvested a few. We've harvested 11, which was, I don't know. You guys have to say, because I'm not writing it down. Zach, what was number 11?
I'm putting it in the chat.
L.
Oh, there you go. Why don't you put them all in the chat? Then we won't.
That's
have
what
to
I'm
go over this.
doing.
I didn't know.
I know,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was waiting for a chance to say.
Thank you. Okay, so we're good with this number 6. And Lindsay, do you feel like you kind of get what we're doing here? I'm taking you on a sample quest, and then we're going to talk about how to make them later. So moving right along, Zach.
Do you have a question? Do you need a brochure? Nome Visitor Centers for sure has the cure. First letter of what people did to the golden sands of Nome.
So if the first letter, it looks to me like they panned the sands, but it also looks like they prospected the sands, and they both start with P, so I think we're safe. Everybody good on that one?
So that's number 10.
10 is a P, okay. Olivia, are you back with us yet?
Yes.
Okay, can you read this one?
Yeah. For 4, an ingenious invention that is still used today, the Umiak allows hunters to safely make their way. 4th letter of the kind of animal whose hides are used to cover these frames.
So I'll give you a minute to read this.
Kind of tiny for my old eyes. I hope
Okay,
it's on the-
where you're looking is this, where, can you see where my pointer is?
Yes, okay, got it.
That's the
Okay,
giveaway. Yep, okay.
thank
I
you.
made it bigger. It was before you really couldn't read it. Okay.
I was trying to
so-
read the top sign.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty hard. That is my blow up of it. And that's what they look like over there. It's a pretty cool exhibit right in the middle of town. It's hard to tell, but if you could just, if this picture were wider, you'd have that big church right over there. And to your left is the gold pan. So they've got all those things right around the square. So everyone's got our animal, right? And Lindsay, we're good? I hope so, because Lindsay, I was thinking if you could read this next one.
Yep, I'm good. Are,
Okay.
oh, sure. Postcards may be old-fashioned, but still are fun to get. To send some to your friends, this is the best place yet. First letter of the last name of the president when the PO building was built.
It's hard to read, but you can read it. It's right at the top.
First letter of last name.
It's right here. Can everybody see it? Are we good? Alex, can you see that one with your old eyes? Okay, great. He said it, not me. Okay, I think my eyes are older. Okay, so let's see. Alex, you're next.
Looking for fine native artwork to give as a gift or spruce up your home? Come inside, get a lift. First letter of the city named on the hanging sign.
That's an easy one. And geez, Louisa.
Number 2, from Sydney to Miami to exotic Taipei. So many fun places, all so far away. Second letter of the city that is 3,305 miles away from Nome.
This sign really needs a spruce up. Everybody find it?
Second letter.
Second letter.
Number 2.
Yep. Everybody good? Okay. Let's see. So Zach, I think you're up.
Of Inupiaq values and culture, the statue does tell. Gnome's not just about gold, but native traditions upheld. 4th letter of Inupiaq's first name, or Uparazuk's first name?
Uparazuk, I think
Uparazuk's.
first name. I will say that I've made really a lot of quests, and I've made a lot of them with kids. They really like people to read the whole sign. Like this was unusual that it would be in the top line there. Usually they would choose something in the bottom line to make sure everybody actually went all around the town and read all the signs. But in this case, we've got his first name is the first word on the sign. Everybody good to go?
Mhm.
Okay. Olivia.
All right. For the letter 3, in 1926, Roald Amundsen accomplished a remarkable feat, flying over the pole from Europe to land at your feet. First letter of the last name of the American on Amundsen's team.
And I just want to point out that this down here is a blow up of what's actually right there. So you can read it if you read the
First
bottom
letter
right.
of the last name.
So I'm kind of guessing that around now you guys might be figuring out what this whole thing says, but do not say it out loud. Keep it to yourself. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I'm trying to think who's next. Lindsay. We're hopping around.
Where, oh, where can I find a good cup of joe? Bearing tea has espresso, we recommend that you go. Letter made by the overall shape of the art and the sign.
We got it. And I've kind of lost track of where we are. So why don't we go to Zach?
In 1900, Nome was a big boom town with 5,000 people looking to party on down. The oldest of the Nome's drinking saloons, the Board of Trade, is still playing our after-work tunes. First letter of the fifth word in the line starting with headquarters.
Can everybody read that?
Barely.
Headquarters for the Sin City of Nome.
Okay.
I will say that if any of you are interested in joining the year-long iTrek program, this Board of Trade is a definite stopping point for the whole teacher cohort. It's a very fun place to go. Too fun, a little too fun, but very fun still. So, okay, Alex.
The Iditarod National Historic Trail gets its due from the world's oldest dog mushing club. It's not new. The first letter of the second word of the trail honored on the sign.
So just to be clear, what are people? So it's the Iditarod National Historic Trail. That's the actual name. So we want the first letter of the second word. So everyone's got that? Okay, don't give it away. We're getting really close. Let's see, Louisa.
Number 15. In 1898, these three Swedes got real lucky discovering gold in Anvil Creek. Now that's darn plucky. First letter of the reindeer herder's last name.
To make this easier, I blew up the sign and put it right here in the middle. So this gives you the relevant clue. It's a pretty cool set of statues, and it's really fun to get your picture taken standing next to them, or they often have scarves wrapped around them and stuff like that. Olivia.
All right, 16. Gathering space for Nome residents, the young and the old, Anvil City Squares Park is town center where stories unfold. Fourth letter of the first word on the sign for the square.
Everybody good? Oh, it's pretty easy to read. Lindsay. Lindsay, are you good for this one? I keep giving you the ones with coffee in them. Lindsay?
Its name rhymes with Ringo. It's worth checking out. An awesome place for coffee and treats for your mouth. Second letter and the missing word on the Pingo sign. Pingo blank Seafood House.
Everybody got it? Let's see. Alex.
Donald Perkins was a more modern Nome guy, and he was a teacher like you and like I. Donald Perkins' middle initial.
I'll just give you a minute to read the sign a little. It's kind of interesting. Wow, he only lived to be 52. That's pretty young. Oh boy, sorry. Okay, Louisa.
17. The Alaska Territorial Guard, who were aged 12 to 80, helped keep us all free. Their sacrifice was weighty. Last letter in Major Marston's nickname.
Delia, you're going to have to help me with that one.
Okay, during World War II, under the leadership of Major Muktuk Marston, M-U-K-T-U-K, Marston, and 21 paid staff, 6,368 volunteers from 7 Native ethnic groups and European Americans, whose collective ages ranged from 12 to 80 years of age, including some 30 women, watched the northern shores of Alaska for enemy movement and were instrumental in the battle for Attu, a foreign war battle fought on domestic soil in commemoration of their personal sacrifices for our freedom, sponsored by the Alaska Native Veterans Association. There's some really cool stories up there. It's really fun. I mean, I guess there are everywhere if you notice them. So let's see. How about, I can't remember. Who hasn't done one in a while? I should have written it down. How about Zach?
The Iditarod race finds an endpoint right here. The blurred arch crosses Front Street year after year. Leather farthest to the right on the sign.
And I'll just show you some Iditaroders. This is me. This is Judy. This is Louisa. And Hannah, right? Wait, where's? Anyway, bunch of people that you might know. Okay, so now Olivia.
All right, 21. Recognizing 2 eras of Nome's varied past, this welcoming sign is sure built to last. Next to last letter of the biggest word on the sign.
Everybody got it?
And what does it mean by next to last letter? The second to last letter?
Second to the last letter, yeah, of the biggest word. Okay. Gosh, we're almost done. Okay, so let's see. How about Lindsay?
The headquarters of Bering Land Bridge National Park is home to our classroom return before dark. First letter of the next to last paragraph on the fluted spear point to the sign.
No, I changed that. It didn't stick. Darn it. Okay, forget that. It's meant to be. God, I changed it and then I think I forgot to hit save. Okay, Louisa, can you tell what letter it's supposed to be? Because I didn't bring.
Yes. This is number 20.
Yeah.
It should be the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th letter of the first word that runs horizontal on the bottom of the sign.
Really? Oh, okay. I was going to do second letter of the full name of this animal, but that would be the same thing.
Oh, that
No,
is what
either
it
way.
was.
Yeah, either way. It's the same letter. Okay. Did everyone follow that? That was a little confusing. We had to change it because we didn't have a picture of the display, which I thought we did. Okay, everyone have your letter? I'm taking that for a yes. We're almost out on the end. Alex.
Gaze on out as far as your eyes can see. What is the name of this remarkable sea? Second letter in the name of this sea.
Does everybody know what sea the gnome is on? Just in case not geography lesson, it's the Bering Sea. Okay, so now we have completed all our stops and you should have something that looks a little bit like this. So let's see, this is the test part. I'll tell you what, why don't we all say it together? What you think it should be. 1, 2, 3.
There's no place like
gnome.
gnome.
Right. And that is something that they say all the time up there. You can get buttons that say it. There's obviously this beautiful sign in the middle of the town square that says it. And it's a kind of really, I have to say, true fact. There is really no place quite like Nome. It's kind of crazy up there. Wild times, and also just a deep, deep, traditional heritage, and a deep uh, natural and cultural resource heritage, and then the whole story of the race, and then all of the wildness of the gold rush. It's a crazy place, and been a really fun place for me to learn about, thanks to iCheck. So I just wanted to talk briefly about the qualities of a good quest. If we just went on one, and you could say what you thought either worked or didn't work about it. I think that it should be fun. It's meant to be. I think we all learn more when we're having fun. I come from Vermont, and in Vermont, our local heroes are Ben and Jerry, and they say, if it's not fun, why do it? So I sort of think if it isn't fun, people tend not to, learn as well. So it should be challenging, a little bit hard, but it has to be ultimately solvable. It's really frustrating when you go out on a quest and you can't figure it out. And at the end of the day, you go home and you just feel like you lost, So I think it's a balance of hard enough, but not too hard. I think it's great when it's attractive. And either a lot of times they use children's artwork to make them, look beautiful with a compass rose or something like that. So something that makes you want to go out and do it. And it helps if it takes you somewhere interesting. So where I live in Vermont, we have them around graveyards like this. We have them where we have canoeing quests we have bicycling quests, we have quests that go through natural areas, but we also have indoor quests. Some of them take you through the reference section of a library or take you through a museum. So a lot of them go through neighborhoods and through urban areas, like really anywhere that you want to get people out exploring. I think a few other qualities of a good quest: it should tell a good story. Everybody likes a story. So you need something that you can kind of grab onto, and the clues need to be fun and engaging. I like them best when they reveal some kind of human connection. I can connect to people that also like to drink coffee or eat cake, or I can connect to people who, I don't know, have, want to buy some souvenirs or something like that. The treasure being cleverly hidden is important. There are so many wonderful examples. We have some that are in graveyards where the treasure is actually a pot of fake flowers on an ancient person's grave. There are some where you're, instead of collecting letters, you're collecting numbers, and those make a padlock. And it's a padlock that opens up the back of like a little gray utility box on the back of it, what looks like a pretty boring, Parks and Rec shed or something like that. In my town, there's one where you spell out these letters and it brings you into this 5-star super fancy Rockefeller Resort hotel. And you walk in and you go up to the concierge, and the letters have told you what to spell. And so you walk up to the concierge and you say, I've found the quest. And they pull this beautiful mahogany box out from under the desk, and that has what you're looking for. So a lot of the you want to have a cool treasure, and you don't want any two hunts to be alike. The treasure box that you're looking for is sometimes it's an ice cream container, sometimes it's kind of like a like I said, a wooden box. Sometimes it's like they used to be old army ammo boxes or something like that. But the idea is that when you find the box, there's a little sign-in book like this. There's some kind of stamp, a rubber stamp, and a rubber stamp pad, and you collect an impression of the stamp and you leave an impression of your personal stamp. People who are really into questing make themselves a personal stamp. They either carve it out of an eraser, or they just buy one at the rubber stamp store, or if they're little kids, sometimes they even cut up mole foam and use them. So people have their own stamp. Mine is a little turtle that I made out of an eraser. So whenever you solve a quest, you want to go and be able to leave that in the notebook, and then take one of the ones that they had. So it's like a leave a stamp, take a stamp. Similar to geocaching, if you've been into that, where it's usually about leave stuff, take stuff, this is a more sort of educational version of geocaching. I wanted to just talk about a few of the things that make questing successful. These are some people in Maine that are going out on a quest. I think when it can be fun for both adults and kids, that can be a great thing. I like quests, and this is just sort of a personal preference maybe, but that have really clever rhymes. So this one, whoopsie, this one was not made by kids. It was made by teachers at a teacher workshop up in San Francisco, or down in San Francisco for you guys. That was about the Crissy Field. I don't know if you've been there, but it's part of Golden Gate National Recreational Area, and it's this particular quest, if you're sort of reading through the clues, takes you around to different kiosks along the boardwalk, so you learn about it. If you're into teaching rhyme, you'll notice that this has an ABAB rhyme scheme. So O and flow rhyme, marsh and harsh rhyme. That's kind of tricky. A lot of people just do couplets, AA, BB, CC, TD, but doing something like this can make it a lot more fun to read as you're going along through it, but a little bit harder as well. I think sparking the imagination. This Muirswood quest was also made by the same teachers or people who came to that same teacher workshop in the Golden Gate. And what I like about this one is it just sort of invites you to, enter through the arch and think about what you might see, and things will surprise you. It sort of sparks your imagination of what's likely to be possible next. I also love quests that tell a good story. So this is a quest, again, teachers wrote this quest in New Hampshire. I don't know if any of you have been in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, but there's a notch there called Crawford Notch that everybody that lived there wanted a road through, and the governor said, no way, it's too rugged. I'm not going to waste money on that. And then he finally said, I'll tell you what, if you can get a horse through the notch, then I'll let you build a road. And they did, as you can read here, by basically lowering the horse down on a rope, but they got the horse through, and that let them build the notch. So that was a fun example of a story that gets told by people going on this quest. This quest was made by fourth graders, and this is just a little piece of it. I love, this quest goes on and on. I've got another little piece of it later, but I love that they decided to teach the science fact about the fact that snapping turtles have these little worm-like things on their tongue that lure in prey, and then the snapping turtle can snap them. The fact that that kids chose to teach that story through a quest, I think is great. I also think that useful information, useful facts can be great. This is a quest that an adult made at a national park near me, Marsh Billings Rockefeller National Historical Park, which focuses on conservation. And so I think that, teaching, it's an interesting way to do interpretation about this historic greenhouse and how they've renovated it and made it a lot more ecologically sound. So they could just have a brochure that said that, but instead you read all these rhyming clues and it makes it more fun. Sorry about that. My cursor isn't behaving.
So Delia, a question, I may
Yeah.
have missed that because I came in a little late.
No worries.
So is there like a specific site where people tend to like upload these quests to, or is it just a general Google search? Or is there a place where you find a database?
Yeah, all different ways. A bunch of quests. There are a bunch of different questing programs. In Alaska, we have quite a number of quests right now that have been made by iTrek teachers over the years. And I don't think, Louisa, that we've put them all in one place, but we've talked about doing that as a way to make it so that you could take your kids on some of them. I'm just about to show you a quest that Louisa just made, and maybe Zach's about to make one. So where will you guys keep those Campbell Creek quests, do you think?
The Campbell Track quest will be at our website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The quests in my area, which is sort of where we started making them, there are hundreds and hundreds of them, and they all are on a website called valleyquest.org. And so valleyquest.org has also, how do you make rubber stamps, and how do you make books, and it has a lot of information. So I think I've got it listed here at the end. So that's one place, but the quests that are there are only in the Upper Valley region of Vermont and New Hampshire. So not so useful to you, although they could be useful examples. I've worked with other questing programs. I showed you some from the Crissy Field, out in the San Francisco area. There's a questing program on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. They're sort of all, there's not national consolidated questing site. There is though for letterboxing. So letterboxing I think is similar, but as I said, it can be a little, yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. What's the thing, Louisa, the word I'm looking for that you always do that involves map and compass?
Orienteering or
No.
earth caching?
Yeah, geocache. So geocache is another one that is similar to this, but that oftentimes doesn't, involves stuff. It can be a little more controversial in public lands because sometimes it takes you off of trails and it involves leaving little pots of stuff, and so sometimes questing has been seen as more educational, but I think they're all great programs that get people out exploring. Do you want to say more about geocache, Louisa, or earth cache?
Well, I'd just say so geocaching is kind of, well, Julia explained what, how you find a box and then you take something, leave something is sort of the protocol for those. And then I think the term is earth caching, where there's actually an activity inside the box. And that's something that we've done with students to teach them how to use a GPS. And then we've done it with teachers in the iTrek program too. So you use a GPS to navigate, but when you find the box, you open it up and there's actually an educational activity to do inside.
Okay,
and so that's a fun thing to do. So it is, becomes educational rather than merely a treasure hunt or just a treasure hunt.
So that's another variant. Yeah. So there are a bunch of kinds of these things left in the landscape, which has been really fun. This is another one where kids decide to teach a useful fact, which is that the white birch is the New Hampshire state tree, which I thought was fun. I wanted to just show you the Campbell Track quest that Louisa made. And Louisa, I'm hoping you could just sort of point out some of the features of this and tell people where they can get it if they're going to be in the area.
Yeah. So we created a quest for the Campbell Tract, and you can see here there are 9 clues. They're all arranged in a circle, and our goal was to create a novel experience for people who come to the land, to share the human history of this land, the current use of the land, and share important natural history information. And part of our goal was also to create a quest on public land so that other folks within BLM in other offices around the state could see what a quest really is and what it might look like, so that, because we see lots of places where we think quests would be fun things, lots of BLM managed lands where quests would fit in really well to create an engaging experience for visitors. So this loop that we set up is about 3 miles, I think, around, and our users can come onto the land from many places. So we wanted it to be, no matter where they entered, they'd be able to do it. So we set it up so that the clues can be done in any order. You can start anywhere and just go around, or do part of them one day and come back another day and do the rest. And so on this whole loop, there are only two sets of interpretive signs. And so like the quest that we did that Delia took us through in Nome, there was no way, there were just like no signs for us to use to have people draw clues from to solve a message. And we did really like the idea of having not only reading these clues and moving around the land, but having a little riddle to solve, which is here in the lower right-hand corner of this page. And so we thought, well, what can we do? So the clues that we wrote them so that they taught people something about each of the stops. And so maybe they were learning natural history or they were learning human history, etc. And then the letter was actually in the clue itself. So we would tell them to
I've got the other pages if you want.
Oh, great. If you want to show another page, that'd be great. So, for, I don't know, maybe I'll just read off clue 1. Is that a good idea?
Sure.
Tucked in the woods at the end of the road, the CCSC welcomes young and old. There you can learn about nature you know, from mammals to birds, from glaciers to snow. They'll teach you to use a compass and map, build a snow shelter, and make a tarp wrap. Field trips and workshops, lectures and classes, even events attended in masses. The woods are their classroom, as is the creek. Come for a program, they're new every week. And so with our clues, we wanted to prod them to imagine or think about things. And so we had a thing in italics after the clue. And then the riddle letter here, the first letter of the word that describes what the CCSC uses the woods and creek for in the second to last line. So,
Ooh.
yes, Delia.
Classroom.
Great. And so they were collecting letters, but they were collecting them from the clues. And that is how they went through this whole, all 9 clues are similar in that. And let's see, what else? We did not, I realized we now failed in one of the elements of a great quest. We don't have a treasure box at the end. We were setting this up in COVID, and we deal with geocaching on this land, and just sort of layers of how to deal with this. And so what we decided is just that they solve this riddle and they know the answer, and so yay. And then we invited them, Julia, I don't know if you have the 3rd page or the next page. We invited them to actually, because they'd been reading all these sort of poems, to write their own poem about their experience from the day and then post it to social media.
Oh, that's a nice
so
idea.
They're creating treasure for us or for others to see. And we also don't have a stamp. Our building is not open yet. We don't know when we will open. And we didn't want to have something out on the land that people would be handling. So this is how we designed this one.
I love the idea of creating the poem and posting it to social media. That sounds like a wonderful workaround. And another way that we did, the one that's in Crissy Field, which is just right under the Golden Gate Bridge. If you've been there, it's the it's an old airfield. It's right there, and it's got a lot of traffic, a lot of dog walkers, a lot of people, and we just didn't think leaving a box out was smart. But it has a nice brass plaque, and at the end, and so we have a box on the place where you can take a rubbing of one word. Yeah, and you first have to figure out which word to take a rubbing of, which is respect. And then you take that word off the rub. So there are a lot of different ways around the idea of getting people out and searching. Thanks, Louisa. This looks really cool. I just think it's awesome that you guys made it. And Zach, good luck. So a couple, questing, if you wrap up about questing, great way to map the natural and cultural assets of your community. Oh, this already says that, cultural and historic sites as well. It really can bring kids and adults together in a fun way. It's a great thing. The quest that Louisa just showed, that was made by adults, but the one, that I was showing you earlier that was made, these are the 4th graders who made that quest. And it's a really valuable resource that a lot of people use at that natural area. So it can be nice to have things that are made by kids and adults. It's good to get people just connecting with places, as I said, natural or cultural, and it's really fun. This girl's holding a book. In my area, we've published all the quests in a book, and she's holding a copy of the book. And in the back, you can see she has a place to collect the rubber stamps from all the different quests that she goes on. And they sell the books in all of our local bookstores. I haven't been working on questing in my area this year, so I don't know what they've been doing about COVID. But hopefully soon that will be a thing of the past. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about some fun ways to teach this stuff. How many, here, I can stop this, but to think about rhyming, map making and that kind of stuff, are those things you guys are involved in teaching it all anyway? Or are you teaching any rhyming or writing skills? A little bit? Okay, I want to
Um,
play, oh, go ahead. You go,
No,
Alex.
I was just teaching. I'm teaching writing, and I'd like to use, incorporate writing in any way I can.
Great. So I'm gonna play a game called Hot Potato Not Potato. If we were if we were all together and this was a live training, I would have an orange or something, and we would be tossing it around, and I would say a word, and I would toss it to you. I'm going to toss it to you, Alex, just so you know. I'm tossing this orange to you, and then I'm going to say a word, and you have to say something. Oh, he's really got an orange. And he's got to say something. You've got to say something that rhymes. So, but instead we're going to do it I was going to do it in chat. Why don't we do it in chat? So I'm going to say a word, and then everybody has to write a word in chat that that rhymes with that word. Okay, so here's my first word. Go. Let's see how many we can get. Ooh. Okay. Nice. Ooh, okay. Good ones. Okay, Lindsay, you say a word. New with a different word that doesn't rhyme with these words. Hmm. I like swig. I like to think of polysyllabic words, but this is a hard one. Okay. Zach, start us on a new one. Ooh, these are good. Okay, Zach. Wait. Wait, who just did? Oh, drone. That's a good one. Okay, Zach did own, right? Shoot, now I'm losing track of who started. Who didn't start one yet? Hey, you guys, it's late in Vermont. Okay. Alex, go ahead.
The chair.
Okay. Well, you guys are good at this. Oh. Okay, who's got a new one? Louisa. Okay. Okay. That was fun. So that's, there are a lot of ways to teach rhyming. I find that kids grasp rhyming pretty easily. They don't grasp rhythm as easily. I find that it's that if you're trying to sort of, I think that I shall never see, it's harder to teach that. And so getting them to clap it can really help. Mother Goose is awesome for that. I think that helping them to understand tadas. So if you, depending on how much you want to teach, iambic quatrameter or iambic pentameter, that which means either 4 tadas or 5 tadas, are about the normal amount of a human breath. So I think that I shall never see, that's 4, right? Who can say another rhyme that comes to mind easily? Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch his fields fill up with snow. So if you think about poems that you know by heart, a lot of them are either 4 or 5 of those tadas. Who else knows another poem? Come on, somebody here knows a poem. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. So that's sort of like 3. Louisa, you've got one, right? Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear.
Well, one came to mind that no one's probably ever heard.
We'll take it,
you-
Lindsay, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, Lindsay's got one. Do you want to, can you say that one out loud, Lindsay?
Sure. I just said the Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Like that has the Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. That's the 4
Fuzzy had no
each
hair.
line.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. So that and just getting some Shel Silverstein or Mother Goose and reading them aloud help kids to understand. If you can have that kind of rhythm, it's a lot more pleasing to read. It's more pleasing to your ear. So helping your kids to get that right can be really helpful. And you end up with little filler words, but that's all right. So that's good. Mapping is another whole skill that you can teach with questing. One of the things I've seen that I think is just the coolest is a tub. And once we're back in the classroom, where you make a landscape out of clay, mountains, valleys, rivers, and then you put a piece of plexiglass on top and add, 1 cup of water at a time and trace the lines that the water comes up to, add another cup, trace the lines. And in that way, as you look down on it, you can begin to understand how topographic maps work, that they go up the valley, that kind of thing. So, there are a lot of ways to use questing to teach those sorts of skills. Have you ever done the thing with a shoe? So you just take I don't have a shoe here, but I've got a dragon. So you've got this dragon, you'd put the, works better with a shoe, I think, but you have your kids look at it from the side, look at it from an oblique angle, and look at it from the top and draw it in each of those different ways. And if you get a tourist, if you think about a tourist map, those are always from that oblique angle where you can see both the front of the building, but they also are in the right place on the map. So, there are a lot of ways you can get at map teaching. What are some things you guys need to teach that you might be able to use questing to help you teach? I mean, I could keep just talking, but are any of you teaching natural science, nature? Because if you're trying to teach things like about wildlife or plants or fungus or any whatever you're trying to teach in the natural world, this can be a way to study it. Likewise, if you're trying to teach cultural history, this can be a way to teach. So and getting your kids to learn the facts and then interpret those facts into a quest can be a lot of fun. It also
Math. How might you see math involved I know in the
Um,
past, I've done trips to graveyards and had them find people of certain ages, but any other ideas?
I like that idea a lot. If you decide to use any map and compass, how old are your kids, Alex? I can't remember.
6th grade, 12 years
Yeah, oh,
old.
perfect. Yeah, so you could. So if you want to do anything with map and compass, that can be a great way to do it. I had another quest open here that I was going to show you a minute ago. Maybe I won't go to search for it, but that either they're pacing out steps, or they're or they're looking, actually using the compass, and that kind of stuff can be useful. How do other people imagine you could use math? We might be a little stumped on this, but I will say that I've done it. I know that Louisa, when you've used for orienteering, I don't know if you do did you do map and compass yet in 6th grade?
I haven't yet.
Because I
It's
think
been a strange year.
no, of course. When does it come though in the standards? Does anybody know for Alaska? When orienteering skills come? I don't know for Alaska, but I think 12-year-olds could do it. So that would be one thing.
And making stuff to scale would be
That's
a
true.
use of math skills.
Mhm. Yep.
Measuring trees, measuring tree heights or something like that.
Yeah. What else do you guys need to teach? All of those.
I
kinds
could
of
see using
research.
it in a classroom. I was gonna say, just in a book, like even if you didn't have, this wasn't to go outside one, but just as a way for them looking for information, just teaching the concept of how to use the clue to find something, like apply it to something where they had to find the evidence or something in the text.
Yeah, I think that could be really fun. We've definitely made them in the research area of a library, but with the books that don't get taken out, like the encyclopedias and stuff. And so that can work for that. So doing that kind of search is good. I'm just going to show a couple last little slides here, and then we'll wrap up in just a minute. We talked about rhyming, map making, and local research. And we've talked about sort of subjects you imagine that you might be able to use this. Because it's just a way to make whatever you're teaching more fun. And I think, Alex, I'm feeling challenged now. By tomorrow night, I want to have some good answers for you for thinking about more ways that teachers have taught math. We can talk about some questions, and I just wanted to show you. So this is a book that I wrote about questing that you can get. It's one of those ones that these days you can get from Amazon for $1.99 plus shipping kind of thing. They're all over, but it's got a lot of the specific details of how to do quests in it. And I've already told you the upcoming, so good. What questions do you have before we wrap up for today? Or thoughts?
So I heard Lisa say that she's got a model of one on the BLM site, and you said valleyquest.org had some other examples that we could use. And how about geocaching? Is that a totally different animal?
It's not at all. It's very similar. Oftentimes it uses map and compass, or GPS. So as opposed to sort of clues like go down to the yellow house, take a right, or walk to the maple tree, and sometimes it's about which is good for you, Alex, if you're trying to teach math stuff. But it's similar in that there is a hidden box. The hidden box, instead of being about writing little notes and taking rubber stamps, is about stuff. But so looking at geocache, I think, is a good place to start. Look up letterboxing USA has some in Alaska. And then I've just been so challenged. I don't know if you feel this way, Louisa or Olivia or Judy, but there are some really good quests in Alaska that have been made over the years. So there's a great one in the Alaska Botanical Garden that, Alex, I can't remember where you're based.
Anchorage. I'm in
yeah.
Anchorage.
Yeah, so there's a nice quest in the Anchorage Botanical Garden that was made by someone who used to work with iTrek. We've sort of worked on over the years. So there are a bunch of them even around the Anchorage area that that might be useful. Maybe what I could even do is sort of text you some as examples or email you some if you're interested.
Great.
Yeah, yeah. Go
I
ahead.
just need to say a couple things, Delia.
Mhm.
First, Alex, so we haven't actually made our quest available to the public yet. We're actually doing that early days of June in celebration of National Trails Day. So from June on, it will be at our website. So I wanted to let you know that. And then the other thing, there's a group based in Anchorage called Geocache Alaska. And if you wanted help teaching geocaching, or you just want to find out more information or whatever, like they're a specific, if you can Google like geocaching and find lots of things. And then if you look up in particular Geocache Alaska, they are very enthusiastic about geocaching. And yeah, there are lots of geocache boxes even in Anchorage.
In my mind, geocache and letterboxing and questing are all in the same, they're all cousins. And it's just the idea of let's get a sense of place, let's explore place, and let's create these fun treasure hunts to get people out doing it. So yeah.
Thank you.
Good. I think I might wrap it right there. Alex and Lindsay, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow night when we get together with some Appalachian Trail teachers. We're going to keep that to an hour sharp. And I hope that Olivia and Louisa and Judy, you guys are all very welcome to join too. That'll be really fun. And Zach, it was nice to meet you. Best of luck with your quest. And if I can help you at all as you go about doing it, I'm happy to do that. Although I'm sure Louisa is a great help to you as well. Where's your quest going to be, Zach?
It's on the Dalton Highway.
Where's
So up to the visitor center and then visitor center to the Arctic Ocean up there.
Wow.
The whole
Cool.
road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good luck with that. And can I ask you the favor of sending it to me when you're done?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Good. Well, so I'll see a bunch of you tomorrow, and thanks a lot. Best of luck. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you have a good rest of your
Yeah.
night.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.